Lacking internet. We'll see if my voice holds up for this like half an hour or so, but let me actually get my chat up and running. There it is. So it should be hopefully live to you on the internet somewhere, somehow. Yes. So we'll do that, and we'll do that, and then I can hopefully have the chat be live chat, and then pop it out like so, and I can read it and answer some questions, I suppose, because that's what we're here to do here on the broadcasts, the first of the year, and of course I'm on vacation after this, so that's going to be it for the daily videos. Of course, Perplexing Pixels continues always, regardless of my vacations, but otherwise I'm going to be just chill for a little bit, playing some games, and planning out another year of content. But for the time being, chill on the daily business for a bit. But of course, Pixels. As always, will Roman lose to Cody Rhodes or The Rock? That depends on The Rock's movie schedule now, doesn't it? Because that could go a whole lot of ways with the Great One, and it might just be a case of him not making it because of his insurance purposes. And therefore, at that point, I would say Cody wins the Rumble and then goes on to Mania. Now, does Cody win at Mania? A different question. You know, at some point, they are playing with fire, right? At some point, someone has to beat Roman Reigns. Because if you go this long and he gets hurt and he can't actually defend it to put somebody over, then what's the point of that 2-year run at the end of the day? So it's, yeah. I certainly hope that they had their good big moment. And honestly, right now, you can make an argument for Sami Zayn being the one to beat Roman Reigns. You can make that argument because just think of the moment, right? But will they do that? Will they take that chance? Maybe. I'd say Cody Rhodes is the likely dude there, but favorite game of 2022 would probably be AI, the Somnium Files Nirvana Initiative on the PS4. A close second would be Trails from Zero, because a brand new Legend of Heroes, well, new but old, you know, that whole thing. But I love me some Legend of Heroes RPGs. Yeah, I would say for the ladies in the Rumble, I mean, at this point, I wouldn't say, like, had we not just seen the return of the Queen, Charlotte, I would have seen her winning the Rumble. But because she's back now and we're this close to the Rumble, I don't think that's going to happen, obviously. She's already champion, so what's she going to win for, right? Which means potentially I would say Rhea Ripley is my favorite for the ladies in that Rumble this year. We'll see. It could be quite interesting. I only saw some highlights of the Nakamura and Muda thing, and it looked pretty good. I haven't had the time to actually sit and watch the whole show, but it looked neat. There was some just bumps in there. You're like, man, how is this being done? But it's being done. Strong style. I see Ronda, who didn't want to be champion, according to her. I see Ronda and Shayna heading into the tag division. Makes sense to me. But I would assume we're going to have that rematch at the actual Rumble between Ronda and Charlotte. Going to have your, contractually obligated rematch clause for... Although I guess they got rid of that. But I see that match happening between those two at the actual Rumble itself. But if it's not Kevin and Sami, then who's facing the Usos to defeat them at Mania? I mean, who says the Usos have to lose at Mania? That's a bigger question. I mean, obviously they're going to fight somebody, but that's, do you book the entirety of the Bloodline, who are champions, all losing at the grandest stage? Or do you only have Roman lose? Or do you only have them lose one of their titles? Not both, just one. And then does that cause the dissension in the bloodline from that factor or not? Like, I don't know. It's interesting in terms of how they're going to handle that going forward. I did hear that rumor of Logan and Cena, and generally, I'm not a big fan of part-timers versus part-timers, but at the same time, it keeps all the part-timers out of, like, other regular, more important matches. So yes, have the part-timers cordoned off into their own little thing and do their own little thing over there for a month or so in their build and do that, and then bye, because we're not going to see any more Cena. And that's is the most important question there is Logan Paul, who got hurt at Clash at the, no, he got hurt at the Saudi show. Is he going to be healthy enough to work Mania with his knee getting blown out? So is that a thing? Does he have the power of John Cena to heal that quickly and come back that quickly? Is a whole different discussion entirely, I think. I would love Brock and Gunther at Mania. Would love that. It looks like we're going to have, if not before the Rumble, then perhaps at the Rumble of a Gunther and Braun Strowman, which to me sounds like we're going to have a match much akin to a Lord Steven Regal versus Goldberg, where one guy can really work and one guy really can't. So, we'll see. I mean, better than that, but still kind of in that same lane. What I expect from 2K23. Well, we now have, if you got the code base, right, and you've taken control of the code base, and you put out a mostly functional 2K22, and the question is, are you aiming for March or not? Because we have no date, right? Are we going to aim for March and then do your back to the yearly back-to-back cycle with minimal improvements? Or do you go all the way to October of this year? Give them a good year and a half-ish build and then just be that much better. So I think at this point, without Ukes and without all of those other issues, like, it should at least be solid from what they did with 22. Like, I unfortunately foresee more of their My Faction garbage to get more microtransaction garbage, and that's going to just ramp up. If you look at NBA, it just ramps up until it's just infecting everything. But look, man, 2K is going to 2K at the end of the day. It's just kind of is what it is. Matt Riddle's in rehab for 6 weeks, I believe. So at the end of that, who knows? Like, he's not fired. And I've heard there is no longer a 3 strikes and you're out policy from wellness because they don't want to have anybody do it on purpose and then go to AEW. So there's that. Will the remake of RE4 be better than the original RE4? The question there is, do they cut anything like they cut out of RE3? Are there any major changes? Because if you have the same game with just amazing next-gen graphics, then sure, awesome, great. If you start making changes and you start cutting out things to make it a more compact experience, it's going to be tricky. I'm still getting it, but it's going to be a tricky bit of business for RE4, because obviously 2 was that set the fucking bar for that remake, and 3 kind of just didn't quite reach that. It was a different team, but didn't quite reach that. And then 4 was going to be that same team who did 3. They were like, no, back in house at Capcom. M2, relax a little bit. Yeah. So that's maybe. We'll see. We'll see soon in like March. So April, March, I forget. Stone Cold at Mania again. I mean, if he wants to do it, look. I think the biggest money match. The biggest possible in terms of easy to write storyline, in terms of, oh my god, is this happening, in terms of outside interest, in terms of garnering actual headlines. Think of this. And this could have happened like 10 years ago and didn't happen 10 years ago. If you had Stone Cold Steve Austin and CM Punk, think of that headline. Think of that just attention. Oh my god, Stone Cold and CM Punk. Like, it writes itself, but would it ever happen? Probably not. But look, wrestling. Anything can happen in wrestling. No matter how many bridges you burn, no matter how many people you piss off, if there's money to get made in wrestling, it could happen. If it's best for business, then the business will make it happen. So, I don't know, man. That's if CM Punk wants to keep on wrestling. That's a whole different discussion. Back to AEW, that's a pretty big bridge that he burned punching their EVPs, and yeah, it's a whole thing, right? But again, I don't know that Tony Khan is the same level of let's work it out that Vince was at the end of the day. If Vince welcome back Warrior, like after what he did multiple times, yeah, I'm not sure that's going to be a thing with Tony. As far as Sasha Banks, my understanding is that as of today, as of the 1st of the month, she's a free agent. So they've been saying she's going to be there at New Japan like this week, and she's already in Japan right now. So I feel like she wants to get she wants to go do that tour Japan and get it out of her system, and then maybe return somewhere else like WWE or AEW, right? But she wants to do that stuff over in Japan, which usually their contracts don't allow that. So she wants to do that. Am I still using the Elgato 4K60? I am. It is the Elgato 4K60 S Plus, and it is a fantastic piece of hardware, and I like it a lot because no one having to have a laptop. Just all right, I have the SD card. I hit the button. It records in 4K. Love it. It's not cheap, but I fucking love it. It's great. And now in this 13 minute stream, I have cursed twice. Will YouTube demonetize me in this stream for cursing twice? They might, but it's YouTube. So, stupid robots, I hate them. Go to hell. And apparently hell is not profanity anymore. It used to be, and now it's not. Weird. YouTube is weird. All I can say on that. But apparently saying dick is the same as saying the F word. And I'm like, how is that even remotely comparable? What? Weird, man. Just adopt TV standards. Are going to be like doing that. It's just dumb. It's just dumb. What made me start uploading on YouTube was I used to be a nerdcore rapper back in the day, and you had to have that, you had to have the MySpace, you had to have the Twitter, you had to have the YouTube. Like, those are kind of the big three at the time. So it made sense if you're going to have, music and videos to put it on the major video platform. That was like 06, 07. That was early. That was so far away ago on YouTube, so long ago on YouTube. They used to have reply videos on YouTube where you would literally see a video, make your own, and go under the replies in the video, like 15 years ago. It's crazy. Yeah, see, I'm old. As far as staying up late to see that show, it starts like 3 in the morning. Like, I could go to bed early and get up at 3 in the morning and watch that. But just staying up is... I'm old, man. I'm old. We have a super chat from NRU Cody Ghostface asking about a movie from this year that I liked. and I definitely did not go to the theaters this year. And I'm trying to think of what I watched outside of Jurassic World Dominion, which was, I didn't like that movie. It was a thing. It was very much spectacular technically, but a very dumb movie. And I can't think of any actual like this year movies. Like I watched some stuff, but I'm not sure I watched anything that was out this year besides Dominion. I didn't watch Top Gun. I didn't watch like honestly, I watched a lot of anime, and I don't watch that much stuff in live action these days. But I watched a lot of anime, and it was pretty good this year. It was a pretty good crop of shows this year. Icon 809 with that super chat says that Triple H, Papa H's, gonna make Sasha an offer she can't refuse. Sure, but he's gonna wait until after she wants to do her stuff in Stardom or New Japan or wherever. Get that out of her system, because we know Sasha is a top tier weeb, and from one weeb to another, I get it, I understand. But she wants to do it. She wants to work, like, go over there and work Tam and, you know, just all kinds of just fresh opponents in Stardom and otherwise. Will John Cena be the 17-time world champion? I think you've gotten a little bit late for that to happen here, but of course you have the opportunity with, at some points, you want to have these belts split up, right? At some point, you have to have Roman Reigns stop carrying the two titles. Maybe. I've heard rumors that they want to make a new Raw top title. And I'm like, wait, hold on a minute, player. Hold on a minute, player. If you're saying that you don't want Roman to lose so badly that you would be willing to make up a new Raw top title for a world title, that literally means that Roman would no longer be the undisputed champion. It'd be disputed. There'd be a dispute there because you have two top titles again. Like, it's just dumb. So, I think at some point they have to have Roman defend one or the other somehow and lose that title. Like, it has to happen because, like, at a certain point, you've only got so long in his career, and you got to have somebody, like, get that shine. Like, you don't build somebody for that long to not have someone pin them and get that shine and elevate in this business. It just makes, that's how it's done. That's how it's supposed to be done. And Triple H, I think, understands that, being in charge now. So, certainly, it could be a Cody Rhodes. Certainly, it could be a Sami Zayn. Like, you've got names that you could do it with. Like, eventually, a Gunther could be out there. But, yeah, I don't think they kind of have an end game in mind besides, hey, we're going to have, we want to work The Rock at Mania. But it's like, Rock's not going to win. You don't bring out a guy for one match for a title to win. Like, sure, as a celebrity in your special match as a celebrity, then yes, you win. If you're coming in for one match for a title, you don't win because you're not going to defend it. It's dumb. It's dumb. Like, look, years ago, when, all right, you bring back The Rock from the Rumble to Mania, that makes sense. You win at the Rumble, you lose at Mania. Like, that's just logical. But if you only get The Rock for one match, and it's for the title, he's not winning that match. It's not going to happen. Like, acknowledge your tribal chief. Come on now. I don't know that we'll play Hello Neighbor 2 on Pixels. I tried it for a little bit, and I don't think it's very good. And we know how Grim feels about games that are in first person on the whole. So I'd say maybe, but don't count on it. Yeah, see, if you're having the two part-timers in Logan Paul and John Cena, then whoever wins doesn't matter because, like, they're both not full-time guys. They're both not going to be there on the show afterwards to carry things forward. So it's your, spectacle match, and do what you want. Like, it doesn't matter who wins, because it's kind of whatever. So I don't know. It's intriguing, but I think you're past the point, right? 2 years ago, during the pandemic, if you had used the time in the Thunderdome, if you had used your time with Randy Orton there, to have Randy rack up those next couple of titles to make it to 16, and you had both Randy and John Cena at 16, and you had, it just get vacated for some reason, make it up, and then you had your WrestleMania, John Cena at 16, Randy Orton at 16, whoever wins is 17, Ric Flair at ringside. That is just what you should have done, and you didn't do it, and that moment has passed, I'm sorry to say. Especially considering we don't know what condition that Randy Orton's back is in. So, like, is he going to come back? We hope so, but yeah, that's rough, man. You could have done that. You could have started that story 2 years ago, and you didn't do it. So, I don't know, man. NRU Cody Ghostface asks if I'm excited to play the Resident Evil 4 remake. Yes, I am. Certainly. And it's going to have some kind of VR component to it. And I'm certainly getting myself a PSVR 2 headset. It's already pre-ordered. I'm already locked in end of February. And I just actually ordered a copy of Village for that VR mode, because I am very hyped for that deal. Give me some good VR with the inside-out tracking and the foveated rendering and the eye stuff and all that. All that. As far as this supposed Mountain Dew Pitch Black match, what is it? They have not really established what that means. Is it a just lights out match? Is it a, like, what actually constitutes a pitch black match? And I feel like this happened before. When they originally announced, and I feel like this is always Bray Wyatt, when they originally announced the House of Horrors match, they had no idea what that meant. Oh, it's a cool name, but what's the match? What are the rules, right? So I feel like, don't announce a match name, a brand new match type, even though it's a branded thing with Mountain Dew, without actually having a set of rules in place that, all right, what is this going to play out like? What is it going to look like? What is this match going to be? Because if you're announcing it first without any idea in your head as to what it's going to be a disaster. And I feel like this stuff kind of attracts to Bray somehow. I don't know how. It's rough, man. It's rough. But yes, I mean, look, you could have... This is what I feel like you could do. You could have the entire crowd, right, be dark. Turn off all the arena lights. And then have, like, on each ring post, like a lantern that kind of, like, shines in different directions. So you can kind of get glimpses of what's happening in the ring, but not the full picture. Like, perhaps that's an idea. But, again, is that a good experience to watch both at home and in the arena? Remains to be seen. Because, again, don't pitch matches and then not actually have an idea for the match. And it's like, oh, well, we announced it, but then what did we do? How do we actually fulfill this promise of what it is? And what was it? Their last branded match was that Pizza Hut thing they did like 2 years ago, ish. I think it was, again, it was weird. They had the pizza out like next to the Tron, and then had the match in the ring with like tables, and it was the Prophets and somebody, I forget, but it was a branded, like, that's always like, look, that stupid that match with the zombies where the Miz got hurt where it was branded for the movie for Batista. It was bad, man. It was bad. So yeah, I'm not really sure how it's gonna play out. We're gonna find out soon, though. As far as an Elgato for gameplay, it's gonna depend on what your needs are. Because if you need to do record your gameplay like out of the home and on the go and on location, then certainly this guy right here is fantastic. But it's $400. So if you don't need the insane 4K and doing it, wherever you want to go, you're fine, right? If you have a computer and you don't want to spend that kind of money, then the HD60S is just fine. Like, it's 100 and something. So, and that's going to be 1080-60, not in 4K. And to be fair, the amount of people actually watching videos on YouTube in 4K is not that much. I have the numbers from my channel who, like, people are watching, like, on their phones. Like, they're not watching it in 4K. So it's nice to have. And when you have, even if you have a video in 4K and someone is watching it in 1080p, the quality, the fidelity is still a little bit higher. So it's nice to have, but not essential. But for me, I'm a fucking weirdo. So what's up, Decepticon? PSVR 2 soon. Like a month and a half here. Can't fucking wait. If your internal PS5 SSD is not working, then no, you gotta send it out to get it fixed, because that's internal. And it's gonna be a whole different can of worms. If the one you put in as the expansion is not working, that's different. But if the internal one is not working, that's back to Sony to get fixed. Unfortunate. Would they add a WarGames match to 2K23? Look, they're still on, even though the Ukes no longer working on 2K. That is still the Ukes engine. You cannot make an engine from scratch in 2 years. For that kind of game, that kind of complexity, not from scratch. So that was the base, was that engine. And they're very much, trying to get things all together. And I just don't see that engine being able to handle the 2 rings, the 10 guys, and all the physics to do that in that engine. If you were making a brand new game, brand new engine, sure, great, fine. But I feel like WarGames in particular for that game engine is gonna be a problem, and they already have enough problems and bugs in that code. So, yeah. Awesome drama. Peace out. Icon809 with the super chat says, do I think Cody Rhodes could be the new John Cena? And if so, there must be another Cena-like character. I think, look, as like a face of the company type guy, sure. As long as the fans keep, that support, fantastic. I think, does Cody have the skills in the promo that John has? There's not a lot of folks that have that amount of skills to control a crowd like that John Cena has. And we saw at the end of the AEW thing for Cody there, he wanted to be a face, and the fans just weren't having it. And I think if his presentation stays the way it is, and those fans love that in WWE, then sure, he could certainly be the top face in that company easily. And sure, he could be on the cover of the next game, but it's going to depend on a lot of deals there when he returns at the Rumble, supposedly. That date on Fight Forever is always a placeholder. Any game that's going to tell you that they're coming out on the last day of the year is a placeholder. Always. Yes, I have my PSVR 2 pre-order. I have it. It's locked in. I can't wait. And yes, hopefully, because it's only the one wire, there's no box, there's no breakout nonsense, there's one wire. If people were able to hack PC support for the original, which was a nightmare, I would say that one much easier with much better tracking inside out and the controllers. It should be a much easier way to make that work on the PC. I would hope that somebody's smart enough to make it happen. Like, I'm not sure they're going to actually have like official support for it, but there's a lot of folks who are a lot smarter than me that I would hope to make that happen. But for me, I want to play Village in VR. Like, yes, need that. I'm very curious what they're going to do with the RE4 stuff in VR. Need that. Like, there is just a lot of things being done. And I'm hoping whatever, like, traction they get from Village in VR, go back. Take 7 and make it PSVR 2 compatible. Like, upscale that deal. They've already done the upscale for PS5. Like, that's already out there. So, just obviously, and you've done the work for the controls from Village, so port that work to 7 and give me 7 in proper high-def VR. Please, Capcom. Please. Good Lord. 7 is so good. So good. If your PS5 expansion slot is busted, like if the actual slot is busted, then yeah, I gotta get that back fixed with Sony. Like, I'm not sure how to fix that otherwise. Man, I have not done this for a while. My voice is shot. Holy shit. This is why I'm going on vacation, because holy shit. Also, I've not cursed a lot here in this half an hour, and I swear, if YouTube flags this for me not being ad-friendly, I hate them. I hate them so much. So much. Dead Island 2. Is it going to be good? Considering that in the time it took them to put out 1 to 2, we had Dying Light 1 and 2. Man, what is that game? Like, what even is that? Because the team who made the first one made Dying Light. So, like, what? I don't know. Like, I'm going to play it, obviously. But, I'm not sure if it's going to be any good or not. That's kind of the thing there, is that it could just be a nightmare. Considering how long it spent in development and how many times it got delayed, and it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. Hey, buddy, from my nerdcore past. What's going on now? What's going on this side? If the actual SSD is bad, then I would say try a different one. But, again, I've not used that slot for the expansion myself, so I really don't know what the deal is there. With that, I've just not had I've not had enough games on that system to actually need that space. So, it's been kind of okay. I don't play Call of Duty, so I don't need that, 100 and something gigs for one freaking game. That's nonsense. Nonsense. Of course, I'll play that new Spider-Man. Of course. Like, those games are really good. They're really good. And, of course, Wolverine at some point. So, should be fun. The first perplexing pixels of the year is probably going to be High on Life. And we're going to film that at some point this week, perhaps Wednesday, and it'll air on Saturday as a usual. I have zero interest in Harry Potter, so not gonna get the Hogwarts. Like, I was too old when that started. Like, that was after my time in that kind of a fantasy type deal. I'm much more, hey, Lord of the Rings, give me that. But yes, Fight Forever, day one. You know this, day one. I am done with my GM until 2K23 comes out. In terms of games I'm looking forward to this year, let's see here. I can pull up my GameFly queue and see what's coming in the pike shortly that I'll be looking forward to playing. Let's see here. Gamefly.com. Where is my queue? First and foremost, One Piece Odyssey's out in like 2 weeks. Can't wait. I love One Piece, and a proper RPG. Well, they had one on the 3DS. I bought it. I played it. It was not very good. So a proper good RPG would be nice. Of course, there is the Dead Space deal at the end of the month. Then we got more Yakuza in February. Atelier Writer 3 is out. That's new Star Wars is out. Legend of Heroes Trails to Azure is out in March. So is Loop 8. Resident Evil 4 obviously is out in March. Let's see here. Obviously Dead Island 2, Zelda, Master Detective Archives Raincoat from the makers of Danganronpa. Please. And then, of course, there's just a lot of things don't have dates yet, so it's up in the air. Up in the air for a lot of games. This week's Pixels should be High on Life. I have not played I have not played Midnight Suns yet. It's kind of on the list somewhere, but I have a lot of old games from that's like I haven't played a lot of the stuff from XCOM, so the backlog, it grows and grows and grows. Yeah, it's nuts that we've had the phenomenal Styles for this long. He only had 2 minor injuries. Crazy. Crazy. Considering his style, it's crazy. Was last year garbage? I mean, look, the last 3 years, if you want to get down to it, like, what is time? Like, how has anything made any sense since this fucking pandemic happened, right? So you do what you can with what you have to the best of your ability, and that's all you can do. So, like, I can certainly look at my numbers, right, on my channel and go, oh, it's just going down. Since 2019 has been just a downward spiral consistently, but I'm still here and I'm still doing it. And I can look at my analytics from 2021, right, views-wise, and 2022, views-wise, and overall, for the entire year, about the same. But 2022, the revenue was up with the same views. So I can't really complain on that. Like, yes, day to day, it just gets lower and lower and lower. But overall, it's still kind of the same as it was last year or the year before. So there's not really much to, like, that's on me, right? So if I can't make it work, then it's not going to work. And I just try and try and try. And so things will either hit or they won't hit. And, sometimes you put a lot of money and a lot of time into a video and it does not do what you hope it would do. But you learn from it. You move on and you keep on trying. So usually at this point of the year, all right, it's my idea time to go, all right, what do I actually want to accomplish, like, video-wise this year? Besides, the usual, all right, obviously, 2K is going to be out. We're going to do a lot of videos on that. AEW, a lot of videos on that, right? But, like, that's just kind of the standard. So it's like, all right, what is going to be the other thing, like, outside of that makes sense for me on a video platform? So, like, perhaps more proper reviews. Like, I don't know what's going to be yet. So, like, the problem that I have is that a lot of the ideas that I have that require other people to make them good also require scheduling. And that, when you're an adult and you get old, it becomes a problem getting everybody in the same room at the same time for like an hour to film a thing. So, obviously, it's, all right, what can I do on my own in this room with this green screen, these lights, and, that actually makes sense and I'm going to enjoy in some capacity somehow. So, I don't know, man. It's going to be an interesting year, I think. A favorite YouTuber that I like to watch. He changed the name of his channel. What is it now? His channel is now called GWC, Gaming with Character, I think is it was called something else before, but I think that dude is hilarious. But besides that, I kind of watch, I've got, a handful of people that only do YouTube. And let's see here. If I look at my main subscriptions and what's been uploaded recently, obviously, Echo Mog over there, do the damn thing. Well, I don't watch that much, but here and there, there's certain people I will stop what I'm doing and all right, new video, gotta watch it. But it is not as many as you might think, because it's just a time-consuming thing. I don't think that Kurt Angle should do any more matches. I think he should be like, granted, we're all sad that he was retired by Baron Corbin. Very depressing. But I don't think that he should work on any more matches. So, voice is fucking shot. Holy shit. Will we see a very professional individual in 2023 if the need arises for someone that professional to make his presence known in a very just stalwart manner? Then perhaps. But it all comes down to the idea. It has to make sense, and it has to kind of just work in a way that it has in the past. Because it's just like, if you do a thing without an idea behind it, if you create for the sake of creation without actually having a plan in mind, it doesn't always, like, it needs to have a purpose. At least in my opinion, it has to have a purpose in what you're doing. So there are always great ideas for that, but when they come about, then all right, then we get together and do them and make them. But doing it just to do it is kind of not really what I've done in the past. And what I found is that the most reaction you're going to get is going to be when you actually have a purpose and a reason for doing so. Thoughts on when we're going to see 2K23? I mean, look, you got two options: March or October. If you don't hear a thing soon, and March is not that far away, then I don't know, man. Like, they've not announced a date, and they announced a date pretty early on 22. So not having a date yet is a little bit concerning. But 2K does do things kind of at the last minute with their stuff, so I'm not that worried yet. If it's like mid-February and we've heard nothing, all right, If we get past the Rumble and they don't air a trailer at the Rumble, then start worrying. Because at that point, it's probably going to be October. But man, I don't know. I'm not a game dev, so I don't know, man. It's rough. I would say the best at staying retired was Shawn Michaels, and then that whole thing happened in Saudi for that big payday. But hey, you know, it is what it is. It's rough. It's rough. I did not watch that much Impact. I don't have a whole lot of memories of Don West. Rest in peace. But I was not big on the Impact train there. I watched it for a little bit, but then it's like, oh, now here's gonna bring in Hogan, all his cronies. They just got a nightmare. Nightmare. The next call up from NXT, I have not watched any NXT in quite some time. So as far as who's, look, we know at some point we're getting that main roster Braun Breaker, but is he ready yet? Probably not. He's a little bit more seasoning there, with his whole deal. But certainly that man, the future. As long as he stays healthy, the future. I would not see Mandy Rose back that soon, because that just happened. And it's tricky, right? Because obviously the most attention she's going to get for her extracurricular activities is going to be right now, right? The most subscribers she's going to get on her fan time, like that's right now, right? But the longer that she's off TV, the more those numbers drop. So the question is, at what point does the numbers dropping and what they would offer her in a contract, at what point does that line cross and she goes, okay, I'm gonna go back to work? Like, it could be a year. I don't know. But at the moment, she's making bank hand over fist. Like, she's currently making like Brock Lesnar style money doing that instead of wrestling. And hey, it's hard to wrestle, man. The bumps, it hurts. Like, so to not have to bump and make that kind of money, wouldn't you? I don't know. So we'll see. We'll see. As far as the men's rumble, I mean, if it's not Cody Rhodes, then I don't know who else you get for that match. Like, I don't know. Like, like at this point, it kind of has to be Cody. So it's ridiculous. If it's not, that's kind of a problem, because it's not going to be The Rock. Like, there's no way. Rock works one match. Mania. He's not working the Rumble. Not happening. Like, I would not say he won't appear at the Rumble, but not working the Rumble, I just don't see it happening. That is a much larger issue. Yeah. Anyhow, as far as going back to how I used to handle content, the problem there is that it was a lot of extra in the mornings, and I had to be done by a certain time to get it done for 5 p.m. So doing the thing where it's daily and I'm on it daily, I'm watching every single show to discuss every single show and every single news story. I did it for a long time, and the idea of going back to that is like is a bit daunting, because it was just so much, like, the hours involved there. Like, I enjoyed it, but I think here's the problem, right? Is that it's a two-edged sword, right? Because when I did that, and I played old games and talked daily wrestling news, in the comments, they were like, the game though. Just so talk about like people were mad. I talk about the game. What's happening in the game. And when I stopped doing that, it's like, well, where's the news? So you kind of get both factions on that, where some folks want it and some folks hate it. So it's like, man, I don't know, right? I think the most important thing for anybody that's making content is that you have to be happy with what you're doing. Because if the content is making you miserable, then people could tell that you're miserable and burned out and tired and exhausted and just it's not there, right? Like if you're just going through the motions and doesn't make for good content, doesn't make for good videos. Like it has to be at least somewhat enjoyable, because otherwise, like, why are you doing it? Because believe me, it's not the money, because it's not a lot of money. It's very, very small. So yeah, it's interesting. Because certainly there are things that I would love to do, that I think are good ideas, but I know that at the same time I'll do them and then they'll just totally just fail. And it's like, all right, well, I enjoy doing it, so okay. And then back to the wrestling, and I love wrestling, but at a certain point, like you kind of want to branch out a little bit to do something else. Which is why I have a whole new channel for the Playdate. I love the Playdate. It's over here. It's great, fantastic, and that is kind of my other outlet of making videos. Because man, that thing is fun. Like I like I'm explaining the thing, and all right, I paid money for this thing to explain this thing, and so you now who might have one and go, all right, is that game any good? And find my videos, like, all right, well, it's good or it's bad. So it's fun. It's different. I did underestimate the amount of audience you would get from a system that is that niche, that it's very small audience. So this channel is not making any money for the Playdate. Perhaps this year, but right now, zero. So it's just kind of a pit to extra money in that whatever. It sucks. Yes, you will see at least some content from RE4 on the channel. At least Grim playing it on Pixels, and definitely whatever VR is in there, I'm gonna have that headset and do the VR for whatever. It hasn't said what it is yet, so who knows? Obviously not the whole game. So it's something beyond just what's in there. I don't know, man. Looking forward to it though. Thoughts on Dragon Lee going to NXT? That dude is talented and is one of the top free agents out of that region, like AAA, CNLL, you know, that whole thing. So there are other guys who are all locked up on contracts, and he was not, obviously. But he announced he was leaving after winning the tag titles at AAA. It's like, bruh, what? Come on now. So it's curious. It's curious, but that dude is very talented. What I think PS5 needs to improve upon in 2023 is very simple. Actual exclusive next-gen video games. Like, I know there was a pandemic, there was a shortage, there was this, there was that. And so, obviously, making money, you're going to have the cross-gen 4 and 5 stuff. But it's been 2 years now, and there are like 5 games that are actually proper only on next gen on PS5. Bro, like, come on. Give me something that actually takes advantage of the system to its best possible capabilities. What I'm looking for me. So, We'll see. Like, more exclusives that are actually only on next gen is what I want for that system. Because is there going to end up being a mid-gen refresh? Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. Like, what I want is a new Switch. Like, give me a Switch 2. Seriously. Nintendo, quit fucking around. To capture gameplay, you would need an Elgato. I have a couple of them here, but you would need a capture device to get that video feed, either to an SD card or through a USB connection. Or, if you're only on PC, then you would open up a copy of OBS and capture it that way. Favorite PSVR game is the... Look, it's a double-sided deal there, right? Because you could say PSVR only, or PSVR and also had a version on the flat screen. Because look, Astrobot is and was my game of the year that year. Astrobot is so freaking good. But RE7 in VR was like my VR moment of, oh my god, I need more of this. This is a freaking, I was terrified. So it's kind of a tie there with those two. Oh, there's the cough. Been sick. The best professional wrestler in the world today. It's hard to argue against Bryan Danielson. It's hard. Like, he is just so good on so many levels. Still. And I am now out of water. Which means I am done. I had planned for a half hour, and I'm here at almost an hour for this live stream, and my voice is absolutely shot, and that is a great way to start a vacation, I suppose. So I'm going to sign off here on this Q&A stream, and I will see you here for Pixels on Saturday. And then beyond that, I have not planned that far ahead yet. That is part of the start of the year, is A, relaxing, and then B, just planning out the next 9 or 10 months of content-ish. We'll see. But I'll be here. Make no mistake, I am a tax slug. Still doing it. This is year 11, I think. It's been a long time. It's been a long road. And I'm still here with a whole crap load of video games there and there and there. And I ain't stopping. I ain't... Was it the old Stone Cold? I ain't through yet. Not by a long shot. Anyhow, I will see you next time right here on this channel. I'm a tax slug. Peace out. Video games forever.